Welcome, everybody. So, how do you find your soul purpose? This is a common question that so many of my clients ask me when they first come for a healing session or a spiritual reading. And at some point on the spiritual path of awakening, there arises a deep yearning from within to discover the true meaning of life and how to live in alignment with your soul, your mission, your Dharma in this incarnation. Many people believe that finding our soul's purpose is something that we must do in the outer world. For example, maybe in your career, your business, your job. And this might be partly true. However, aligning with our purpose is actually more about allowing ourselves to blossom into the essence of who we already are. And this is more a becoming rather than a doing. So this becoming requires the choice to follow our deepest desires, our intuition, our soul's whisperings, and ultimately what lights us up in each moment. In this way, we begin to connect with our authentic self, which is the part of us that often still lies buried under layers and layers of core trauma, unresolved wounds, negative beliefs, conditioned patterns, and self-sabotaging behaviours. Therefore, to be able to follow our deepest passions often requires a simultaneous releasing process where we gradually learn to accept, embrace, integrate, transmute any of the discordant energies still held within our being as they arise into our consciousness, into our awareness. And in this way, we create the necessary conditions for a natural flowering to occur within us. And gradually, our inherent gifts, talents, spiritual abilities, which are already held within our DNA, will inevitably start to awaken. So, here are some key steps to become your authentic self and align with your soul's purpose. So firstly, paying attention to what brings you joy and lights you up. Notice what activities, hobbies, interests bring you genuine joy, passion, and a greater feeling of inner vitality, rather than doing what your mind says you should do. Secondly, it's very important to start building a relationship with your higher self. And you can do this through regular meditation, sitting in stillness, being in nature, and deep inner contemplation. Asking your higher self clear and specific questions about how to take your next steps. And then waiting for the guidance to show up in your life through the signs, the synchronicities, the opportunities, and the invitations being extended to you. And so listening to your inner soul's whisperings. What is your higher self intuition and heart guiding you to become aware of? And then starting taking some action on that. And a really important point is identifying your big why. Why do you wish to align with your soul's purpose? What do you ultimately wish to contribute to humanity as a whole? What would you like to see happening for the people that you're here to serve? And what kind of world would you like to co-create? And it can be a really good idea to evaluate your life path up to this now moment. So identifying the significant key events in your life, your achievements, your successes, and also your biggest challenges. The things that you've already experienced in your life so far, and the lessons and empowerment you have already gained from these experiences. Our biggest life challenges and traumas, when healed, are often where we find our natural gifts of service. And as we turn our pain into empowerment, then we have the capacity to support others to do the same. And here we need to acknowledge our fear and self-sabotages. Until all the suppressed wounds have been healed, your personality will often create resistance and self-sabotaging behaviours to avoid fully acknowledging any fear and discordant energies, which are actually covering up your authentic self. So aligning with your soul purpose requires a process of acknowledging, embracing, and healing these fears to be able to discover, embrace, and follow your heart's desires. And finally, serving other people. So your highest soul's purpose is never just about you. The deepest fulfillment comes when you are in service to other people in some way. So it will be very beneficial to start to create simple ways right now to serve others with the skills that you already have. This helps you to open up your channel of giving. And by living as your authentic self, you naturally attract others and consequently inspire them to blossom into their potential too. So the truth is, we are actually always somehow living our soul's purpose. Some of us may still be in the seed version of ourself, with our most authentic potential still wrapped up in the hard shell of wounds and conditioning. And some of us may be already in our full blossoming, naturally sharing the fragrance of our highest soul's essence and gifts with the world around us. And probably most of us are somewhere in between these two extremes. So I invite you to ask yourself, what stage are you at in your own becoming? So my soul's purpose, or a part to it, is assisting you to find your soul's purpose. And I've spent over 2 decades doing this for myself, allowing my own becoming, working through my biggest challenges, my fears, my conditioning, my patterns, and training in some very powerful spiritual modalities and technologies and healing systems, which I now offer to assist others to discover their purpose for themselves. So if you are interested in discovering your purpose, your gifts of service, your mission, your highest potential, and would like some assistance with that, I would love you to check out the offerings on my website. There's a huge amount of techniques, practices, spiritual modalities, technologies that I offer. And if you would like any more information, or if you would like to book a session with me, I would be delighted to serve you. Thank you.